Welcome to Suite 301. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this month at our behind-the-scenes look of all Cult Club sports leagues. Just a reminder, we are live on Facebook, so you can now watch all of our broadcasts on the Suite 301 page and all of our Facebook group pages. Also, remember to follow our Facebook groups and Twitter for the latest news. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cult Club Sports. That's COLLCLUB Sports. For videos from around the leagues and to watch previous episodes of Suite 301, we are going to get started right off the bat, no pun intended, with softball. We're going to get Savannah Aarons on the line to discuss such. Lots of things happening in the softball world this month, so we'll get Savannah on the line to talk about all of those things.
Hello.
Hello, Savannah. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. What are you? Where are you right now?
I'm in Georgia.
You're in Georgia?
Santa is in Georgia.
Back home, huh?
Yep.
Well, good. We don't want to take too much of your time. We want to get you back to your family. But let's talk about softball. The fall season, I'm assuming, is wrapping up. I believe the
Yeah, it's wrapping up. This weekend was pretty much last weekend. We have one series that Coastal Carolina Winthrop are going to attempt to play in the month of December. We'll see if that one happens. But that one's the only one left for the fall season.
Okay. And is there any surprises closing out the fall season, or is it still kind of too early to tell?
No, we've already had two teams clinch, which has been exciting. We don't usually have that. So this fall we had Sacred Heart clinch the North Atlantic North. That was a huge, with realignment, it was a super competitive conference. So them clinching that's a huge deal. And then we had Kentucky clinch the Great American South as well. So two
good.
postseason teams already. And then that led to a ton of jumps and craziness going on around the, with the top 20 poll.
Okay, and let's talk about that top 20. Sounds like there's been some shakeups. Can you go through maybe the top 10 or so?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't say there's too much going on in the top 10 besides obviously the big one, which would be Naval Academy taking over the number one spot.
Oh, wow.
They're currently 15-0 in conference play right now. So
Okay.
shout out to them. They haven't clinched yet. They still have one series in the spring they'll need to play, but they basically took over the number one spot from JMU, who dropped down to 3. And then the other big one was probably Grand Valley that jumped from 13 to 6.
Okay.
But I think the biggest stories are probably our 3 that jumped in, which would be Northeastern, UConn, and Michigan. All came into the top 20 for the November poll. So definitely looking at them making waves. UConn being second to Sacred Heart in that conference right now. So big props to the North Atlantic North for being super competitive, having 2 teams in the top 20.
Okay. And remind me, is there any at-large bids, or is everybody going to the World Series, or does everybody have to win a conference, so to speak?
Yep, everybody's got to win their way and
Okay.
go at large bids. So
Okay.
those they are at large bids to the regional playoffs.
Yep.
So hopefully, a second place team is going to get that opportunity to participate at regionals and maybe hopefully earn their way to the World Series. But yes, absolutely got to be totally earned all the way through to get to the World Series.
Well, that's awesome. And now we got 2 teams that have clinched. Is there any deadlines that softball teams need to be aware of this point in the year?
I would just say the annual dues, if you guys want to take advantage of that early discount, that's a $100 discount if you pay by December 31st. Definitely take advantage of that. It's a great way to save money. So
Yeah.
take advantage of that if you can.
It's an easy $100 fundraiser for your team, right?
Yep, exactly.
So I appreciate your time, Savannah. I don't want to take any more of it unless you have anything else to talk about. Thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing what the spring holds for us.
Absolutely.
Everybody have a good holidays, and we'll see you soon.
All right, Savannah. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
See ya. I think I got that figured out. So lots of things going to softball. Congratulations to the two teams that have clinched spots already this early in the fall. That's very exciting. Now we're going to transition to the spring training showcase portion of our show, and we want to bring on Alex Kane, who's an assistant director to spring training. Tracy is out for Thanksgiving for the holiday, so we're going to bring Alex on. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
You're obviously assistant director, spring training operations. What do teams need to know as far as spring training right now?
Right. At this point, the big thing to remember is that registration actually isn't closed. We've just passed the early registration deadline. Registration is set to close on December 1st, so we still have about a week and a half to go to get your paperwork and your $300 deposit in.
Okay.
So we still have plenty of time for teams to, contact myself or Tracy. We're happy to help get you guys the paperwork you need to know. Get you guys the invoices and everything like that.
And that deadline goes for the South as well as the East?
Yeah, both Tampa and our Henderson events have the December 1st cutoff.
Okay. And what teams, let's go through Tampa, what teams we have already
We're
signed
up to 42 teams that have submitted their paperwork now for the
great.
Tampa event. We have 3 teams right now that have submitted paperwork for our Henderson event, with a couple more that we're still working through to get some details finalized that have kind of given us some verbal commitments.
Okay.
So we're hoping to get a couple more teams out there as well.
Okay. So, I mean, the obviously the reminders to the team, it's not too late.
Right.
Get your paperwork in. What you don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, but you only have to have your performance bond and registration by the December 1st deadline?
Correct. At this point, we're just looking for your performance bond and your registration. Like I said, we are past the early registration fee, so the registration fee has gone up by $75.
Okay.
So at this point, you're looking at a $375 deposit, but that's all you need right now to reserve your spot.
Okay.
Your total game fees and your practice fees are not due until January 31st.
Okay, and for the teams that are signed up, what are they doing now? Booking hotels?
At this point right now, you need to be kind of focused on just probably fundraising for your hotels and game fees. Those aren't due till the 31st, but contact Joe once you know your hotel situation and give him all the details of where you're staying, what weeks you're playing and everything like that, so we can just kind of keep track of everybody.
Perfect. Is there any other?
I mean, other than kind of what I've touched on already, if you're a team that's kind of borderline on coming, you're not sure if the whole team's going to be able to come, reach out to myself. I am the coach of the free agent team, so I'm happy to get you guys any information you want on that. It's really a good time.
Explain what the free agent team is.
Yeah, the free agent team, a lot of the times it's kind of a mix and match of teams that couldn't get all their guys to come down. So we kind of created a team for everyone to play on. It's really fun. It's very inexpensive, really. It's like $35 if you're just a pitcher only. It's only $50 if you want to kind of be a pitcher and a player. It's just a good experience to bond with kind of staff members, because myself and Joe will be playing. Perhaps Eric Curator if he comes down as well. Okay. And it's just a good bonding experience. You make new friends from universities and colleges with other teams that come down and play on the team as well. So it's a very good experience all around.
So, if you have your team meeting and it's, maybe funds right now aren't where they need to be, which I don't think is an excuse because we have a lot of fundraisers.
Absolutely.
But maybe you guys, the team can't make it work, but you as an individual really want to go down. You can still participate in that spring training, and that's the free agent team. And I would highly recommend it because it is kind of not an all-star team, but it's a conglomeration of all kinds of different schools, and you can bond with those schools.
We have staff members that play. I mean, we have other students from different schools that play. I mean, if you're just a friend of a student, you don't necessarily play club baseball, but you're going down to just watch them play this week, you can play on the team too. We will take anybody. It's kind of just a fun event for anyone who wants to play some ball for the week of their spring break.
Good stuff, man. Well, if you are interested in spring training, make sure to get your paperwork in before the December 1st deadline. And, if you're interested in just going down yourself, definitely ask Alex or Tracy. Get in touch with us to talk about the free agent team because we'd love to get you down there for that.
No doubt.
Anything else?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Good stuff, man. Thank you, Alex.
No
Appreciate
problem.
your time.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back after these messages.
The Game is the official headwear sponsor of Cold Club Sports. They offer an early order discount to all of our leagues on top of their already low prices. Go to thegameheadwear.com and check out their wide selection of on-the-field hats, off-the-field boonies, beanies, and visors. Contact Felicia Battaglia at coldclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Avis is the proud rental car partner of Cold Club Sports. From compact cars to 15-passenger vans, Avis has it all. Teams and players receive exclusive pricing and the waiver of the 25 or younger driver fee. For more information on how to reserve your vehicles, contact Alex Kane today. alex.kane@coleclubsports.com.
All right, folks, welcome back. And I didn't get to see the commercial. I hope it was a great one. Hope you endorse whatever product that was, because we certainly appreciate our sponsors. Hey, I'm Sandy Sanderson, president of everything.
Cole Club Sports.
Cole Club Sports, at least around here. And, hey, it's time to talk some baseball. Now, baseball season's 2017 fall baseball is in the rearview mirror. It's behind us. We are closed up with a nice little bow on it, packaged up,
Yes.
waiting on the spring season to start. How did the fall play out for you, Christian?
Really well. I mean, I can speak really specifically on the D1 side of things. Yeah, we're all closed up, but as far as D1 goes, just some conference leaders at this point. In the Great Lakes North, you have Windsor, which is a team that was a D2 team last year. Not a huge sample size. They're at 2-1. They won a series. You have Illinois, who's at 2-0 in the Great Lakes South, along with Illinois State at 3-2, but not far behind them is Purdue at 3-2. The Great Lakes West, I'm assuming weather reasons, didn't get any games in, any conference or non-conference games this year. The Mid-America North, you have Moorhead, which is another former Division II team that was a D2 team a few years ago. They're at 3-1. Northern Iowa 3-3. And then when we get into the Mid-Atlantic West, you have the usual suspects there. You have Ohio University at 3-0, and Ohio State tied with them at 3-0 as well. Getting into the North Atlantic, Drexel and Delaware both 3-0. I know on their schedule request, they requested to play each other the last series of the year. I know they usually have a pretty heated rivalry. So at least at this point, it's shaping up that series is going to be a big deal. So obviously stay tuned for that. But not far behind them, you have Loyola Maryland, another former D2 team call-up.
Yep.
They're at 2-1. North Atlantic North, you have UMass at 4-1, SUNY Albany at 3-1, Boston College at 4-2, UConn at 4-4. So that's going to be a really tight conference. It's definitely going to come down to the end. And then last but not least, the North Atlantic West, you have Pitt top those standings at 7-2. They were given 3 forfeit victories once again from Syracuse University for not traveling down to them. But Slippery Rock.
I was going to say, that's a lot of conference games for one team for the fall.
Yeah, 9. And they wanted it that way. They wanted to knock out a lot in the fall and really play a lot of quality non-conference games in the spring, get out of conference, go south. So that's kind of shaping up the exact way that they wanted it to go. But they did lose their series to Slippery Rock, which is right behind them at 3-2. So, we'll see what happens with that. And Penn State, who's not playing any games this fall, we'll see what they do in the spring. But that's always a tight conference.
Pitt and Penn State kind of going opposite approaches to the season.
Exactly.
Pitt loading up in the fall.
Exactly.
Penn State loading up in the
Exactly.
spring. So we'll see.
Yeah, lots of games being played in D1, but a ton of games playing in D2. Way too many to rattle off right now. If you want to check out exactly how things are shaping up, you can definitely go to the standings page of the D2 website. One item of note is that Cal University of PA did clinch the conference and the spot in the regional tournament. So that's congratulations to them. I mean, that's big. I don't think we've ever had an NCBA team clinch, D1, D2, or even D3 clinch this early in the fall. So big props to them on wrapping up their conference title already. And then at the D3, and lots of games being played there as well. I encourage you to check out the standings there for our inaugural season at the D3 level. But things are rolling. The fall season's done. Teams can now just start, a lot of them going on break and whatnot to kind of work on housekeeping items and getting their dues in and things like that. So it's nice to get the fall season done with and really focus on the big spring season.
Excellent. And since our last show, in the fall we do a lot of invitational tournaments. Since our last show, we had two more.
Yep.
Final two of the fall: the Henderson,
Yes.
Nevada, and Greenville,
Yes.
South Carolina. How did those events go?
They went great. We'll start with Henderson, which is where our spring training west location is. Two great fields out there. Alex Kane ran it. It was a smaller event than last year. It was down to 6 teams. We were battling some other fall tournaments, but went really well. UC Santa Barbara, who was their first year doing it, they took home the championship. I believe they beat Weber State in the championship game. But yeah, really competitive, a lot of fun. It's obviously a great area being right outside of Las Vegas. So we know the teams had a lot of fun. So that was great. That was our second annual one there. And then the Greenville Fall Invitational was another great event ran by Tracy and Rachel. Had 3 days of competitive baseball. They moved up from 12 teams to 16 teams. They had a Division III team participate in Wofford, who I guess held their own out there and had a lot of fun. And the looks like the Final Four came down to Clemson, High Point, UT Chattanooga, in North Carolina. In the final game, which we'll be getting in touch with Jeremy Gonzalez with UTC. The final was UTC versus High Point, with UTC obviously taking the championship 11-5. But yeah, I mean, it was a great event. Congratulations to Tracy and Rachel for putting on a bigger event. I know it's just running those tournaments. It's even though they're all for fun, it's a lot of running around and lots of games going on, lots of coordinating and all that kind of stuff. So it was good. It went really well.
And I believe we're going to be joined here shortly with Jeremy, as you said. But while we wait for him to get on the line, is there any other deadlines or anything, new teams that we should talk about?
As far as deadlines go, it's like Savannah said, just get your dues in ASAP. Those are due December 31st if you want that discounted amount, which I highly suggest everybody does. Save $100. We have added a new team, Hope International University, which is an automatic D2 team because they're out west. I believe they're putting the SOPAC or the Pacific Conference. So I believe that's Jeremy. Let's get Jeremy on the line.
Jeremy, Sandy Sanderson, welcome to Suite 301.
How's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you? Christian Smith, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great. Great to be on.
Well, we wanted to, first of all, congratulate you on winning the Greenville Fall Invitational Tournament. If you can, walk us through your weekend. How busy was it? Did you have any tough opponents? What kind of experience was it for you? Would you do it again? Just kind of walk us through that entire weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a very hectic and busy weekend. So we had to drive down, play on Friday night, play on Saturday, and then we ended up playing 3 games on Sunday. So my guys were pretty exhausted. Definitely not in baseball conditioning, that's for sure. But there was a lot of great competition down there. I was hoping to play Clemson in the championship. That's not how it panned out. But I think the best team we probably played was definitely the UNC Tar Heels. They came out on top. They came out right off the bat, put up 4 runs on us, and I was a little worried at first. But, I learned a lot about my guys, how they can battle and how they can step up to some challenges. So I think it was just a really good weekend for us, gaining a little confidence because, we're trying to make a run at the World Series for sure. And it's definitely something we would love to go back to and participate in again.
And, Jeremy, it's been 2 years removed from winning a D2 national title and then getting that call up to D1 because the automatic call up.
Right.
And you had a successful first year in Division One. I'm sure there was a bit of an adjustment period. There's a little bit different rules, a little bit, game length and so forth. But this is another nice step for your program. And okay, now you've got your feet wet in D1. You're a successful program there. Now you're throwing up W's in fall tournaments. How does this elevate your program to be hungry to say that, hey, we can get to that next step. We can get the regionals. We can win regionals. We can punch our ticket to North Carolina.
Right. Right. Well, last year, we were hungry, but I felt like we got a little bit complacent coming off of that ring, and we didn't really know what to expect at the D1 level. So it was definitely a little shell shock for us to see that there were teams every time, week in and week out, that were going to really compete with us. I think this is a great step to build our confidence, and we're just hungry, man. We're just going to take this win, put it behind us, and look forward to the spring season. And hopefully, we'll come out on top and make that World Series run like we did a couple of years ago. We have all of our guys coming back from that team, and we added some very important pieces. I think it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off what Sandy said, you guys did have a fantastic first year in D1. And if my memory serves me correctly, you were up for an at-large bid, which I believe was given to Florida. But I want to even say you were trying to set up a game with Florida to get a head-to-head look for the voting on the at-large. But as far as going into this spring season, the South Atlantic's an extremely competitive region. Your conference, I'm assuming Alabama's your biggest series on the schedule this year for you guys?
Yeah, Alabama is definitely the team that, they took a game. They took a couple of games from us last year that we felt like, we should have come out on top, but they're definitely who we're looking forward to, and we're definitely hoping to bounce back this year and take it from them.
Well, cool. Well, Jeremy, do you have anything else?
No. I'm excited for them to get underway and see how they do in their sophomore season at D1. And like you said, the big difference in D1 is every weekend your opponent can beat you. Every weekend your opponent can beat you if you don't bring your A game. So, you gotta bring it.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to see how they do because they certainly were a fun team to watch win the national title at D2 a couple years ago. So wish you guys all the success you can get, and maybe we'll see you in North Carolina.
All right, sounds good, guys. All I got to say is, just don't sleep on us. We're a small school, but, look out because we're coming for that championship.
We know
Sounds
it.
good, man. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much.
All right, have a great Thanksgiving, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you. You guys too.
All right.
See you, bud.
Bye-bye.
They're one of those teams that, they obviously won the Division II national title, and then you're kind of wondering how they're going to translate that success at the D1 level, and they were very good. I know they finished second in their conference, I believe, behind Alabama, but they're a smart team, and they knew Florida was probably that team that was going to get the at-large bid. So I remember trying everything that they could possibly
Get like a non-conference
to get
matchup.
a matchup with Florida, who, I don't know how many hours away or whatever it was, but whatever they had to do to try and get to play Florida to really settle it on the field. So I enjoyed seeing that. I like that. I like that they're in tune with everything. So I'm excited to see how they do this year, and congratulations to them on winning the Greenville Fall Invitational, because that was a big event, 16 teams, and I'm sure they did want to see Clemson to kind of get a view of them, as far as a team that they might see in regionals, but obviously it didn't work out that way. But we'll see how they do this year. But hats off to you guys, UTC, and I think we're going to. I'm kind of.
Okay. I think you're caught up. Unless, are you ready?
Am I steamrolling you?
Are you ready to move on, Meow?
Yes, Meow.
All right. Well, I think that's it for our baseball segment. We're going to go to break right now. And we'll be back with some NCBBA basketball updates shortly.
Rawlings is proud to be partnered with Call Club Sports. If your team is in need of any products that Rawlings has to offer, contact us today. Rawlings, the finest in the field.
Wilson is proud to be partnered with Cole Club Sports. Whether it be footballs, basketballs, or baseball bats from Dean Marini and Louisville Slugger, Wilson has it all. If your team has any needs for Wilson products, contact us today.
Welcome back to Suite 301. Thank you for continuing to join us this month. We're going to talk about National Club Basketball Association stuff. The season opened up 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
How are
Just-
things going? We
We're-
rolling along? Games
we're-
being played?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of games in. I mean, obviously,
Good.
most people know we expanded from 76 teams to 101 teams in the league.
Yep.
So excited about that growth. We're coast to coast now. One of our main objectives for this year was to get onto the West Coast, and we did, adding, I believe, 15 teams out in the Southern Pacific region. And we're playing. Some parts of the country haven't, are more spring laden with their schedule. But we've got a lot of games going on right now. We just had our second polls released last week. We'll have a new top 20 ranking will come out next week. Right now we've got Purdue gold defending champs, pretty much at the top at number 1. We got Syracuse sliding up 5 spots to number 2 most recently. South Carolina at 3, Ohio State at 4, Pittsburgh at 5, St. John's at 6, Boston College at 7. ECU at 8, Brown at 9, Towson at 10. So that's our top 10 right there. Those top 6 are kind of, national championship tournament perennial powerhouse teams. And we got some new guys coming up the ladder, new teams that have come on board that teams really don't know much about.
Absolutely.
We're starting to see them get some W's and move up the rankings. Couple items that I want to point out. Week 3, just this past weekend, we had a big upset. Rutgers took 2 of 3 from St. John's. St. John's was a team that competed for the national title last year. In New England, we've got three teams out of the gate undefeated at 3-0. Harvard, Holy Cross, and Fairfield all at 3-0 coming out. So who knows? We might end up with a new regional title champion out of there. It's obviously very early. Lots of basketball up in New England because there's so many teams in each conference. West Virginia, I want to tip my cap to those guys. They're 4-0 in non-conference games. Haven't played in conference games yet, but I really admire them for scheduling non-conference opponents, getting out, playing extra basketball.
Who are they playing against? Are they playing against NCBA team or NCBBA teams?
That question was not in my cue card, so I didn't
Yes.
look that up. I don't
Off the
believe
top of your head.
I don't believe they're NCBBA
Okay.
teams. I think they're playing some JUCOs,
Okay.
some like Division III schools, things like that. I don't have names off the top of my head. Another nice surprise in the South Atlantic, Furman out of the gate at 5-1. It's a new team, small school, very music-based school, I think, academically as well. Learned that from their club baseball team a few years ago. But they're out the gate, brand new team to the league. Came on 5-1, swept Georgia.
Wow.
And so they're having a nice start to their season. Coastal Carolina, 3-0 out of the gate in the South Atlantic, including a sweep of East Carolina. East Carolina, most recently ranked number 8. I don't think that's going to last too long after getting swept by Coastal. So, big, changing of the guard down there in South Atlantic. Now, of course, it's the first weekend of games. There's a lot of room to regroup, rebound, and make a run back at the title, conference title. But interesting start down there. And then on the West Coast, the one that really stands out, Arizona State, 6-0 in conference play. Basically in a 12-game. They've secured themselves a 500 record for the season already. So
Not bad.
not bad. That's good work in 2 weeks.
Yes. Well, good.
So, yep, and lots more to come. I think we've got everybody's off this weekend because of Thanksgiving, and then I think a good number of teams play that first weekend of December, and then we kind of shut it down for the winter Christmas break, and then we'll get back at it in late January.
Cool. And as far as the champion tournament goes, has a site been selected for that just yet?
No, we have not selected a site yet. What we were waiting on was for me to finish recruiting, really understand where the league was going to go in terms of a footprint. Because one of the things the teams clearly stated to us at last year's league meeting was, hey, our number one priority, we want the national championship centrally located.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know where centrally located is. So, did a bunch of mathematical algorithms now that we know the locations of our 101 members, and we're able to determine where is the center of the NCBBA. And that was determined to be basically Lima, Ohio, is the center point of the entire league. Which, for those that don't know that, that's a little bit west of Columbus, Ohio. So now that we know that, we've got our target. So we're talking to people in Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio to be like that circle of
Okay.
potential facilities. So
Okay. So teams just stay tuned.
stay tuned. My goal is going to be like by end of January to have that ironed
Okay.
out, identify some places, go do some site visits in the December, January timeframe. Hopefully have something locked down and ready to announce by January 30th.
Okay. Any housekeeping items teams need to be aware of right now? Now, Thanksgiving break.
Really, annual dues are coming up. You have your invoices. Take advantage of the early payment discount if you pay your dues by December 31st. That's the best advice to give you in terms of that. Save your team $100 by paying them early. Other than that, that's about it for now.
Rolling along.
Rolling along.
Well, that's good. We are going to take another commercial break, and we will be back to talk about some NCFA things when we get back from break.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Football.
American football.
Fundraiser is the official fundraising platform of Cole Club Sports. Teams have the opportunity to create a free online campaign to begin accepting donations in hopes of reaching their fundraising goals. Please be sure to contact Cole Club Sports for more information on this amazing platform for all of your team's fundraising needs.
Motel 6 is the proud lodging partner of Cole Club Sports. All teams, players, and fans receive 10% off the best available nightly rate. For more information on how to book your rooms, contact Alex Kane today. alex.kane@coleclubsports.com.
All right, welcome back, and we're going to talk some NCFA football. And you can count on one finger how many games are left in the season. So
It's exciting.
for those of you that aren't math majors, that the answer is one, or anatomy majors. So one game left.
Yes.
It is exciting.
It is exciting time of year.
It's been a long season. It's been a good season. Lots of up downs. A lot of newcomers in the league winning games and so forth. So
And we'll talk more about it, obviously. But the two teams going are both first-timers
to the national title
to the
game.
national
Yes.
title game.
Yes, we've got Fort Lauderdale as the number 1 seed, brand new to the league this year. Sacred Heart, they're in year 3 of league membership. They're coming in as the 2 seed, going to the national title
Well,
game.
let's rewind a little bit and talk. Playoffs were just this past weekend. We had one in Erie and one in Salem. How did those go?
I'm actually going to rewind it a week
Okay.
earlier
All
because
right, wow.
we advertised last weekend as playoff games. To me, the playoffs is an 8-team tournament, and that goes back to conference championship weekend 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
So up in New England, the North Atlantic Conference, Sacred Heart, Eastern Connecticut, they've battled for that conference title 2 years in a row now. Eastern got the best of Sacred Heart last year. Sacred Heart got them this year in the conference title game, 13-0. Sacred Heart has given up very few points in this entire season. So Sacred Heart punched their ticket to Erie that way.
Okay.
For that playoff game. In the Great Lakes, Oakland out of the East, Robert Morris out of the West. Oakland took them down 12-6. I was actually shocked by how tight that ball game was. I thought Oakland would be able to score more on Robert Morris. Either way, they were able to get the W again over Robert Morris. That's pretty much usually who battles for that conference title out there. So Oakland got their ticket punched back to Erie for that playoff game against Sacred
Yeah, it
Heart.
looks like two competitive. I mean, even 13-0 score. I mean, that's still a 2-possession game, a tight score
Yeah.
to 12-6. So it looks like really competitive, exciting games.
Yep. In the Mid-Atlantic, Miami won the West. Coppin State won the East. Coppin got the host, being ranked a spot ahead of Miami. So Miami rolled into Coppin State for the Mid-Atlantic Conference title game. 22-16, Coppin State on top. And again, a close ball game. You're talking about a 6-point score there. But, Coppin's kind of had a long history of winning big games in the NCFA. And so they got to earn their spot back to Salem, Virginia again for that playoff game once again. Now, the newcomer, Fort Lauderdale, Columbus State. Columbus State has perennially been this number 2 team in that conference behind Middle Georgia.
Okay.
Must be a rebuild. And Middle Georgia went to our national title game last
Yes.
year. Must be a rebuilding year for Middle Georgia State as they finished 3rd in the conference this year.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, the newcomer, took a top spot. Columbus State lost to them earlier in the season, but finished in the number 2 position, so they got to go back to Fort Lauderdale to play for the conference title. Fort Lauderdale 48, Columbus State 13, and so Fort Lauderdale, earned their first conference title in their first year in the league and got to go to the playoffs and play Coppin State. So that conference championship weekend, no upsets.
Okay.
Last weekend we get into the playoffs. Sacred Heart versus Oakland up in Erie. Sacred Heart 28, Oakland 6. Sacred Heart was the number 3 ranked team. Oakland number 1. Oakland was coming off, I believe, a 22-game winning streak.
Wow.
And so I'm not shocked by the result of the game. I am surprised by how lopsided that score is.
Okay.
I thought Sacred Heart would, be able to hold Oakland to low scoring, given that they've given up very few points all season. I was surprised how many points Sacred Heart was able to put on the board against Oakland. So either way, it knocked off the defending champion, puts a new team in the championship game in Wheeling in 2 weeks. Down in Salem, Fort Lauderdale rolls along 36, Coppin State 18. I think that score is actually, from what I understand, even a little closer than the game was really played. I think Coppin State scored some late points when the game was pretty much signed and sealed and delivered for Fort Lauderdale. So that gives us that's how Sacred Heart and Fort Lauderdale got there.
Well, it's going to be, just from what you've been telling, Sacred Heart, you said, has historically not given up a lot of points, and what it looks like Fort Lauderdale scores a lot of points. Should be an interesting storyline for the national championship game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Tight defense. How often do you get like some team that's like prolific offense? It always seems to be a battle of a defensive team and an offensive team, of which one's going to win out. So, stay tuned.
That's going to be exciting.
December 2nd, 3 p.m., Wheeling, West Virginia, West Liberty University, West Family Stadium. That's where I'll be.
And it's for these two teams. This is being our second year there. It's a beautiful venue. Really liked it down there, and I think the teams are going to just absolutely love it and battle it out on the field. So it should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So we are going to be joined here with Greg Jones, head coach of Sacred Heart here. Hopefully we can get here shortly. Just to give you a little recap, number 1 team, Fort Lauderdale, 4-0 in conference, 9-0 overall record going into this championship. Sacred Heart at number 2, 4-0 in conference, 6-0 overall.
Wow.
Coach Jones.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Welcome to Suite 301. This is Sandy and Christian here. We
Christian, what's up?
How are you?
Appreciate you taking some time. Appreciate you taking some time to come talk to us.
Absolutely. Anything for you, Sandy. You know that.
Of course, of course. Well, let's talk first. Congratulations. I've known you for 3 years now. You took your team to the playoffs the very first year you guys existed. Last year you got upset in the conference title game against ECSU. But now you've got your ticket punched to the big title game. Congratulations. How's it feel to be able to get over a hole that you haven't gotten to before?
I'll tell you. First off, thank you very much. This is one of those hurdles that these kids have believed in themselves for the last 3 years. I've got juniors and seniors. My 3-time captain, Brian Moore, is known from the first year when we lost to Miami in that tight game down in Salem, that this is something that has been a long time coming. These kids have so much talent, so much heart, no pun intended being Sacred Heart here. But they work, and then they came on top this year, and I could not be prouder of the 45 young men that I have on my team, and that's including the coaching staff and the athletic trainers, everybody that works with my program.
Now, did you do anything different this year preparing for the playoffs and the postseason than you had in the past?
A little different. Well, first off, we had to make sure we beat ECSU in the back-to-back games. I mean, that was the first thing. We didn't get that done last year, so that was obviously the number 1 goal this year. But I think 2 years ago, being a new team that made the playoffs in their first year, we had a kind of, shocked to be where we were at, going to play Miami, Ohio, who I swear just breeds guys that are 6'7", 6'8" as offensive linemen. And I got kids that are 5'2", 5'3", that are trying to, beat them across the line of scrimmage. We knew that we weren't done. We weren't finished just with the conference championship. There's a bigger picture. There's more to this team than was written about us the past couple of years. We knew it didn't end with the conference championship. We knew it wasn't going to end with the national semifinal. These kids weren't afraid of going up against Oakland, and we did respect them. Coach Manos up there in Oakland University as a frame, and it was a pleasure to finally play them. But we knew that, at the end of the day, after 60 minutes of playing 100% football, we were going to come out on top. These kids proved it, and I can do all the talking that I need to, but if my guys don't, do it in between the white lines, then there isn't much we can do after that.
And Coach, it seemed like a competitive game against the defending champions. Was there any performances from your team, either offensively or defensively, that really stuck out to you, that really propelled you guys to the win?
I'll tell you what, Brian Moore is a man amongst boys. That human being was all over the field. He was making I feel almost every single snap. I feel like every single play that was made defensively, he was in on it. He had at least five sacks. I think that's what I counted. 2 forced fumbles, and at least 16 tackles. I think I shorted him on that with the stats there, but he was unbelievable. He controlled the game. It seemed every time I got back, 54 was in their face. At least chasing them out of the pocket and forcing them to throw the ball on the run. Offensively, we had a bit of the football gods on our side, where some passes just fell into our hands, especially the first ball of the game that kind of deflected off of number 11's hands into Curtis Sutherland's hands down the field for a nice 40-yard gain. Offensively, we had a unit of guys that just worked and put together drives in the pouring rain to get stuff done. But Brian Moore, wow, glad he's on my team. Wow,
outstanding. Now let's talk about Sacred Heart University. How is the community reacting to the fact that you guys are going to go play for a national championship in 10 days?
It's been great. It's people that I really don't know their names, and this is a small school that are reaching out saying congratulations. And my guys are pretty well known on campus, which is saying something because we have a Division I team on campus as well. I used to coach from up there, and then all the kids that I recruited have been stopping in the office congratulating us. The coaches have been reaching out. The president had a big thing this week on the website about us, and it's really grown. Our story has grown through campus as to what we've become, how hard we've worked, and what we're accomplishing. And years ago, it was like, oh, we have a clip football team, and now it's, our clip football team's in a national championship. And it's a really cool feeling to have everybody reach out and stop by just to say hello and see our little Lombardi trophy up there, but know that we have a bigger one in mind.
Now, in looking towards Wheeling, you're going up against a team that it's in their first year. How are you guys preparing for Fort Lauderdale? What's kind of the game plan going in, if you want to share that information?
Are you trying to dig stuff out of me?
I guess so.
I got a week and a half still. Let me eat my Thanksgiving dinner first.
I'll ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Because one of the things that stands out in the standings between you two teams, you're 6-0 overall, they're 9-0 overall. That's 3 more games that they've played over you guys. Do you feel that the less wear and tear on your guys is beneficial to you, or that many more reps in game action for your guys?
Well, I think in the last few weeks they're playing Eastern back-to-back and then going to play Oakland. I think that I don't think wear and tear is a problem. I think that both teams are going to be pretty beat up going into it. That's how long these seasons are. But I think the 3 toughest games of the season, first off, playing Eastern back program, the coach has run up there. So, we saw some of the best programs I think that we're going to see outside of Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of respect from here going down to that coach down there. I understand what it is like to, bring a program in its first year to the playoffs. And, unfortunately, I don't know what it's like in the first year bring a national championship, but that program down there has got a lot of athletes. They're very, very well, very, very great program. We've seen some clips on them. I know that there's not much out there. But we understand, we have a very big test coming up. The 9-0 versus 6-0 is kind of irrelevant at this point because now it's a one-game, season. Wear and tear, eat some turkey, enjoy a weekend with family, get back to the grind on Monday, and get down to West Virginia on Friday, and see what we can come up with on Saturday. It doesn't matter how wear and tear it is. Everybody's beat up. Everybody's exhausted. Everybody's tired. football is football. Let's see what we can do on one Saturday in December and have some fun doing it.
Hey, pain heals and scars. Glory lasts forever.
Look, you throwing movie quotes at me there. Come on now.
I tried to name my son Falco. Love that movie. All right, Coach, it's a pleasure having you on the show. We will see you in literally 10 days down in Wheeling, West Virginia. So safe travels. Happy Turkey Day.
I appreciate it. Give a quick shout-out. I'm Chelsea Dollars, my team. Andrew Cooks were on the shout-out. So there you go, buddy. Now you get sprints from me on Monday. Appreciate you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, you too. Bye. All right, Coach Jones.
Coach Jones.
Coach Jones. Known him for 3 years. He's a good dude. He's proud of him, what he's done with that program up there, and his guys are going to be prepared. They're going to be prepared. We'll see how it goes. So I'm excited about it.
Should be a very exciting championship game. I guess we're going to
get right at it because we got Coach Tracy Davis from Fort Lauderdale also going to chime in. We're not biased. Coaches share their mind. So, well, there he is. Coach Davis. Hey, it's Sandy and Christian. Welcome to Suite 301.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing well.
Doing excellent. Congratulations again. The new club football team train at Fort Lauderdale keeps rolling along.
We try. We try our best.
That team you beat down in Salem this weekend, Coppin State. They're kind of NCFA royalty. They're
right.
2 national titles to their closet, and it looked like you guys didn't have much nerves against them.
We have a good group of guys. We have what people may say of high-power offense, and we do score a lot of points, and that's a credit to Coach Gray and our offensive guys. And what we don't get a lot of credit about is our defense. If you look at what points we give up, we don't give a whole lot of points up either. So I don't think the defense gets as much credit as the offense does. We're a pretty solid overall football team, and having played Columbus State twice, and defending champion Middle Georgia State, and some of our competition outside the conference, I think that's what got us ready for the playoffs, and unfortunately we.
Did you get a sense? Were your guys nervous going into that game at all? Did you feel like they had total confidence in their ability to get the job done?
I don't think they were nervous at all because we had before we left the hotel, we had a lively kind of pregame talk. I tried to pride myself on giving good pep talks that aren't just about football, but about life and about accomplishments in life, and I did that before the game, and I think that kind of got them. If anything, I think they were more worried about the weather than they were about the opponent.
Uh-oh. Well, if they were worried about Salem, Virginia weather, they really need to worry about Wheeling, West Virginia weather.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you're listening to my voice, I ended up getting sick coming out of there. So that weather it hit me. We spent all year on working in the uncomfortable spaces, and I taught a lot about you can't be successful without being uncomfortable. So we made them uncomfortable all year, the way we put it, and I prepared them for that playoff game. And these guys' mindset is that they can't be beaten, and that's not arrogance. They feel that they just can't be beat.
Now, Coach, let's talk about the playoffs. On the offensive or defensive side of the ball, were there any players that stood in that kind of propelled you to that victory?
I would say, normally we are pretty pass-heavy throughout the year, but in that playoff game, Juan Farrell looked like his vision. I made a comment to him during the game that I thought because he made some runs and some cuts, and his vision seemed like it was wide as the ocean, and he ran the ball, and I think that probably was his best run game of the year. long runs, yards that set us up to score. So I think our running game for the first time was the leader instead of the passing game.
Well, cool. How's the school reacting to your first championship berth in your first year, nonetheless?
It's a lot of excitement out here. You know, one of the is we're in the middle of SEC jungle and ACC jungle, and we were down here with FAU right up the street in Miami and FIU right down the street. So we compete with them on a weekly basis with the fan base because South Florida, these kids from South Florida are up. So we have to compete with that every week. But the core group of fans and the core group of the community that we have, most of these kids, 90% of these kids are from the community here. So the community is behind them, and everybody's excited that we were able to accomplish something in the first year that pretty much no other in the world. So they're pretty excited about what we accomplished.
Outstanding. Now, as you prepare for your trip up to Wheeling, you know your opponent's Sacred Heart. You can see just on the score sheets they've given up very few points all season long. What are you doing to prepare for that particular opponent?
We do the same thing that we always do. We talk about how important it is to concentrate and how important it is to be uncomfortable. We tell you, no matter what that person on the other side of the line, whether it be the offensive line or the defensive line, does hurt. You get in the position that we teach you to be in, you're going to be successful. So we're doing the same thing that we do our year, teaching our kids to be in position, to concentrate, and have fun. Just go out there and have fun. If you can't have fun, then this means nothing at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That escapes some people. Sometimes is football's a game, baseball's a game, basketball's a game.
Right.
Yeah, it's not work. It's fun, and you work hard to prepare, but you need to have fun at the end of the day. So I like that you closed up with that. So, well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we will see you next Friday.
All right. Look forward to it.
All right.
Thanks,
Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care. Thank you. You too.
All right, Coach Tracy Davis. Did I call him Coach Jones? On my exit.
No, I think you said
Coach Tracy Davis of Fort Lauderdale. Good
Yeah.
guy. He's been, that community. He's not kidding. Supports them. I've been on interviews with media down there about their program preseason. Like the media wanted to know more about the league that they were getting involved in. He's been on some broadcast radio shows that Rachel's put up on the Facebook page that people in the area want to know more about what Fort Lauderdale's all because they're familiar with college football, obviously, but the club is new to that South Florida area, and so people are getting a lot of interest in it. So who knows? Maybe we'll be able to someday start adding teams like Miami, FAU, FIU on the club side.
So good. It should be an extreme. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue this NCFA train.
We got one more interview.
One more.
Yeah.
With Dave.
What's that called?
Dave
What do we
Mogs.
call that? Gridiron Breakdown with Mogs.
We're
Mogensen, Milwaukee, is going to be joining us on the line, and I think that's him right there. Is this Coach Mogs?
This is Coach Mogs. Sandy, what's
Mogs.
up? Christian, what's going on?
What's up, Coach? How are you? That was more New
I'm
York.
doing excellent.
Hey, it's been 10 weeks, and we now know the final two.
Here, and I think it's surprising to some people, at least from what people have been talking in their last couple visits on Suite 301.
Yeah. It's we had our first upset of the postseason with Sacred Heart knocking off Oakland, and then always the newcomer Fort Lauderdale. As you'd expect, they start they just churning out wins and slowly getting some respect, working their way up the rankings, and now they go into the national title game, number one team in the country.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy to say that I was the only person to vote Sacred Heart number 1 2 weeks ago, and they beat Oakland, so I was really happy to do that. But not only they're dominating people, they're winning by such a wide margin. Both those teams are really. I mean, Sacred Heart gave it to Oakland pretty good. So you got two teams that are winning games. Obviously, neither of them lost, but they're winning by very large margins. So it's very interesting to see the dynamic. Sacred Heart's a really good defense, and then Fort Lauderdale's was just scoring tons of points and everything.
How do you see that playing out, Coach? I mean, do you is it the defense wins championships, or do you see this new team coming in and, just breaking down the defense and letting their offense speak for themselves?
It's, I know little, been around for a while, following for a couple of years, but there's a couple variables. I mean, you look at what football tells you, that winning championships is defense, right? You look at, go all the way back years, and you watch Super Bowls with the big offense and the defense is stopping them. But a couple of variables. I mean, you got the guys from Florida coming up. It's not exactly going to be Florida-type weather in 2 weeks in Wheeling. So that's how they're going to handle that. I don't know if any of those guys have ever played a game in cold weather. So that's, first of all, more conducive to a good defense, right? So you would think that beat the Sacred Heart's advantage. But then again, it is a national championship game, and sometimes you just throw that kind of stuff out the window, and you're worried about winning, and you don't even feel the cold. So it's history, which tell you that the better defense generally trumps the better offense in like a championship type game.
Now, one of the things I thought, I don't know, Dave, if you were able to follow the segment before you with Coach Davis, I thought it was interesting how he pointed out that he puts up so many points, his defense is getting little respect, and that he makes it sound like he really thinks that they're a balanced team that can score points and keep you off the board. So very interested to see how that.
I would agree with that. I mean, to win by such a wide margin, you have to have a good defense. And the other thing that which they seem to be doing, your defense is playing that much more, so there's that much more opportunity for them to give up points, and they're not doing it. And it's not like the South Atlantic is a bad conference. I mean, you have Middle Georgia, who's been very good. Columbus, who's coming into the year thinking they're going to be playing in a national title game. So they're defeating teams that have been historically pretty good by defense.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they have on the. And one of the things I'm also excited about is that we've got two first-time teams in the national title game. It's a new experience for some people, and you end up. I think sometimes teams that are a couple of years, you end up being a little
jaded.
Yes, a little complacent, and versus you get some fresh teams there that are just going to be,
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Let them run wild and see what they can do, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool season. Because all four of those teams have some really good storylines, but I think these two teams it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun 2 weeks leading up to it. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and like you said, new blood. And this is the first time since 2013 there hasn't been a Great Lakes team in the national title, so that's one storyline. And then you have Sacred Heart, who didn't get a chance to go to the playoffs. Maybe they would have fared better, but it's some good things. And Fort Lauderdale being brand new and jumping right in their first year and going out and going to the national title, that's a heck of a story too.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, going into this season, I thought, maybe they're gonna give Middle Georgia some real competition. That Middle Georgia doesn't have such an easy road out of the South Atlantic, and Middle Georgia ends up in the 3 seed.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and then not even, just like I said, not even just beating them, demolishing them and taking it to Columbus State twice. Just beating them by wide margins 2 times.
Yeah. So, yep, going to be exciting to watch. And then storyline, and this would favor Greg Jones and Sacred Heart. We've only once had the number 1 seed win the national title. And that happened to be last year with Oakland. It's always been the number 2 team, the technical visitors of the national title games.
I have a respect for Sacred Heart here. I don't know much about Coach Davis yet, so I'll get a chance to meet him and make a better opinion. But I know that what Coach Jones is doing, he runs a good ship up there at Sacred Heart, so they're going to have a good game plan, and I'm sure Florida is going to have a good game plan too. So it's going to be really interesting to see the chess match and how it progresses and how the Florida guys handle the weather, how to regularly. So it's interesting.
So are you ready to release your predictions for the national title game, or do we need to wait till next week to get that?
Oh, gosh, you need to wait till Ryan Norris and I play the pregame show on December 2nd, so tune in for that, and you'll hear my for who's going to win.
All right. So, yep, and that pregame show starts at 2:30 p.m., I believe, right? Half hour before kickoff?
So. Half hour before kickoff. We'll get rolling.
All right.
Are you like practicing in front of a mirror at home?
Yeah, I do that regularly.
Okay.
I'm this year trying to watch all the practices and stuff. So I'm gonna be on my A+ game.
Well, that's good. You always are.
All right, Dave. We
Thank you, Coach.
We appreciate you taking the time, and enjoy the holiday with your family. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Can I give one quick side pitch here about All-Americans? We're going to be sending out 12 teams that are listening. We're going to be sending out those nomination forms and looking to get those back in a couple weeks. But there are still a lot of teams without stats, and that needs to be entered. So if you're listening to this and you're on the website, you don't see your team with stats, talk to your president, talk to your head coach, and get those stats entered as soon as possible.
All right, that concludes Gridiron Breakdown with Muggs. We'll see you later, Dave. We'll see you in a week and a half, Dave.
See you in a couple weeks.
All
Bye,
right.
David.
See ya.
All right, bye.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And,
That's it.
I mean, that shows, like, Emmy award-winning, that pregame show. Get Dave Mogensen and 9 members in a booth together. It's electricity.
Hey, they also have a sideline reporter.
We do?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Me.
Really?
You didn't know that?
That Emmy's not going to be around for a long time. No, but it is good. So if you can't,
you obviously don't listen to their broadcast because they always say, "Let's take it down to the Sandy."
But on a serious note, if you can't make the game,
Oh yes, definitely.
that's I mean, tuning into those two is like tuning into
Bob
professional. Yeah, Bob
Yeah.
Costas, Joe Buck. You know.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
They
So
are
definitely tune in and listen to the broadcast. Click on the National Championship link, and there'll be a button there for you to listen live to the broadcast. Again, pregame show starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, December 2nd. But we'd much rather see you in person there at Wheeling.
Absolutely.
So. All right, that's it for this month.
Yes.
Appreciate you tuning in. Sweet 301.
Next episode is December 19th, right before the Christmas holiday, obviously at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live. Join us then to catch up on everything that's happening around Call Club Sports.
Meow, don't forget, it's a game.